Great to have your company for what will be considered one of the greatest days in competitive surfing history here at Jeffreys Bay for the Corona Open. Heat 1 of round 4 will decide our first quarter-finalist in this event, and it's an all-goofy affair. Juan Daru, the rookie, taking on the 2014 world champ Gabriel Medina, and a former semi-finalist in this event and the winner of the first contest on the schedule this season, Owen Wright. And things getting started pretty quickly during the break. Juan Daru picking off this one, Pete.
Sitting inside of his competitors, picking one that's going to load up, carrying a ton of speed into the first section there, carves back. You know, this kid, as much as he is quote-unquote a rookie here, has experience surfing JBay, and it shows. Connecting with the lip, again, showing us variety, but this wave, again, speeds up through the impossible section, but he stays with it, and this is going to be a good start. You know, I'd like to apply that pressure early against, of course, the formidable Gabriel Medina and Owen Wright. So a nice completed ride for Juan Daru. Also, during the break, Gabriel Medina, first wave there, very deep, way up top there, and this wave flattens out for the beginning stages of it. See what it'll do as it loads up, and love that release out of the tail from him, so strong. You know, talking about Gabriel, getting into a point in his career where he was weighty. He had picked up a lot of weight, was strong, big. Almost seems like he's leaned up once again, got a little more wiry frame. You know, his success was when he was a youngster because of how wiry and loose his surfing is. You can see right there, that shows. This wave was slow paced, but it was a little bit tough with all of those ribs in the face kind of being the first wave of the set. And then now Owen, so 3 surfers picking up their first waves here. Again, Owen likes to turn off that front foot rail, really off the curve of the outline, the template. Not able to get down the line though, so a throwaway score for Owen. And of course, one more wave for Juan Daru. Getting that quick start sets him up for this very long set. Look at this inside wall as it grows down the line. Grew too much. So just another throwaway score for Juan. And now Owen. I mean, what a start. That was what, a 10-wave set that these guys all picked up waves. Owen down the line here, and this wave, as it turns into the wind, it smooths out. Looking for a finish, which he gets. So I wouldn't say any excellent rides in all of those exchanges. Some good rides, but nothing excellent. I think at this point, we all know, we've watched today's action. You got to be in the excellent range to turn heats.
We're going to see more for sure. Just a flurry of waves in the opening exchanges. 29.5 minutes to go, still waiting on the numbers to roll through. Our competitors going way down the line, so they get dropped at the keyhole down the bottom of the point here, and then they have to paddle back on their own steam. Owen Wright third on the leaderboard at the moment, an opportunity to push a little further ahead of his rivals and just put some pressure on them if he can make that jump directly through to the quarters. Gabriel Medina, Pete, already looking at a 9th at worst. It seems with some movement above him on the ratings that he'll be in the top 10 at the end of this contest.
Having a little gander through the rulebook last night and in regards to the injury wildcards and what you would receive for your seeding. We had talked about it a little bit earlier, but like if you're rated in the top 10 and you are injured at that current point in the rankings, you're going to be seeded 13th when you come back. If you're actually 10 through 22, you're going to be seeded like 23rd in the rankings as far as your, and if anything below that, you go to 36. So there's really not a fluctuation in regards to what number you get. It's either 13, 22, or 36, like in the middle of the pack. It's important for, the reason why I bring this up is because Owen Wright started the season with that 13th seed, going on to win, and that just built his seed up. So he kind of crept back into that top 10 picture, and it's allowed him to be able to keep moving up the leaderboard. And now, once we get to this event, we now go off current seeding from now forward. And, you know, if he keeps himself up in that top 5 picture, he's always going to have that good seeding going through the rest of the season. And if he wants that world title, it's to be very helpful.
I thought you might have been transitioning into Kelly Slater talk.
Well, same thing.
Referring to possibly a return to competition.
And where he sits.
In 2018.
And currently, he's outside of that top 10. He would have to have a seed at the bottom of that pack, which would make it very interesting in those first few events of the season. You know, if he's 100% and he's going to be coming up against guys that are in that top 10 picture, early heats will be fun to watch.
Well, it's just ramble between the two of us at the moment, but Kelly obviously is focused on recovering and I'm sure trying to make a comeback by the end of the season. He'd love to surf the Pipe Masters.
Well, that would be helpful. I mean, if you were to be able to get back in time and put a good result, maybe, you know, I don't know if he could creep into the top 10 or not, but you never know. I mean, maybe even comes back for Europe. I mean, 6 weeks. I mean, Kelly's done amazing things, and he's got his super healing rocks and oils. And
he's like Wolverine. But some movement out the back here, some tall lines approaching. Just over 26 minutes to go. Numbers in for the first exchange. Medina getting the best ride, a 7.33. Juan Daru, he's had a couple of rides, a 5.83, a 2.17. Owen Wright also 2 scores logged. The best of them are 5.1. But Medina, he's the danger man at the moment. And he's up once again. Driving through that first carve. Gets involved with the foam for a moment. Just chipping away, finding his flow. Waiting for some major sections to stand up. Hooks off the bottom. Under the lip once again. Now starting to set up the tube. Grabs that rail, but hits a bump in the face. And falls over the front of his board. 26 minutes to go and a lost opportunity to put up another good score.
A couple things on this wave as he takes off. You can see he's very well paced. He's not hurrying his moves, especially with this lower tide. It even slows the wave up slightly. But that one section where he goes up and climbs the whitewater, so dangerous to do. I mean, whitewash, you know, it has potholes in it. It has sections that you got to carry some speed while you climb that whitewash just so you glide over the potholes. Again, 7.33 for his first wave, which is a good score. You know, it was not an easy wave to ride, and he was able to produce that score off his talents and his abilities. You know, here again, slows up, and he starts to turn the corner. Starts to clean up with the wind. You know, it starts to change the angle. Here, grabs the rail, starts to stall, and it pushes him forward with that bump, with that wind. Kind of a bummer, because that was probably a pretty good section that he could have gotten pretty barreled on, so he'd be kicking himself for that.
A really good looking tube just reeling off through the inside. It's just so bizarre. It's so rare to see Medina fall like that. Never makes mistakes like that generally. And here we go. Juan Daru now has an opportunity to seize the lead. He needs a 5.68 from this ride. Just chose a funky line out of that section. And as a result, he went down. 24.5 minutes to go. Interesting, this one, Pete.
It is. You know, 3-man heats change the dynamics. You end up taking a lot more waves. You're not quite as selective. And can you hear the whistles? Owen Wright all by his lonesome on the outside. And look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which one are you going to choose, Owen?
Sean Thompson watching on. Sean, some uncharacteristic mistakes to kick this heat off.
Yeah, the old free fall floater backside is a real tough one out there, especially in such windy conditions. Massive set approaching here. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like endless lines, as journalist journalist Drew Campion said. Corduroy to the horizon and surfers on massive, solid 8-foot waves.
Well, on the inside, we've got Juan Daru letting go of some big turns. Trying to put up an excellent score to really get his heat going. That's what's been needed to progress through the heats all day. And he handles a tricky section at the end of that ride. Sticks that float.
Hey, Ronnie, this is some serious waves. I mean, it does possibly, it gets too big. It pushes off of the reef out here, even with all those the offshore conditions. I mean, this is just a washout. I mean, literally pushing out to sea. But I love it. Big wave tour. Let's bring it to JBay.
The funny thing about Jeffries is up on the dunes here, you get an elevated perspective of the lineup always. It kind of actually takes away from the size of the face of the wave sometimes when you're watching these camera angles.
I mean, look at it. Everybody's getting cleaned up. I mean, all the way down through the tube section, into the point. I mean, no one riding that wave. That was just, that was by far the most massive set we've seen all day.
A lot of white water out there, Strider. Did you manage to avoid it?
Nope. He's still underwater.
22.5 minutes to go. And the numbers still rolling through for Joan Duru on that last ride. A bigger wave. Probably a little more difficult to surf, Pete. But he had that solid finish.
Well, now they're going to paddle back. I mean, this is the end of the day. You've been watching waves all day long. You surfed the heat already, right? It's like, no, I understand, but I mean, for the surfers, there's a fatigue factor that's going to come into play here. I mean, just now getting worked by the set waves, punching through several waves, and all that energy expended. You just got to dig deep. This is where you dig deep. End of the day. All that training you've done coming into play.
All that training they've done, Pete.
We've done.
They've done.
Yes, they've done.
But just over 21 minutes to go, and good news for Joan Duru fans. A 7.5 for the Frenchman. And he jumps into the lead, already causing a huge upset earlier today in the third round, knocking Adriano de Souza out of the event. De Souza, a former winner here at the QS level back in 2012. So that was a big scalp, and it would have given him a lot of confidence. He needs all that confidence coming up against Medina and Wright here.
Well, you remember he caught this wave kind of the very beginning of the set. So again, it stayed on the reef. It had the best scoring potential, and he executed. He gets the 7.5. Look at the set outside. I mean, Owen's on a much bigger wave, but that wave's going to shut down on him, and it's going to be a fairly low score, whereas Joan Duru is attacking the lip. Although he got pushed way down the point. When he ends this ride, look at that. Straight up vertical. The final move there, big float, hangs on. Even after the floater mistake, the 2.37, he's able to turn it around and get the best wave of the heat, but he got beat all the way down until the end of that set. Finally, the ski grabbed him. You know, lucky for him, we've had that opportunity to have those skis down there at the bottom end, because we would have lost him for 15 minutes.
Can he crack the quarterfinals for a second time this season? Joan Duru already making a big jump up the leaderboard. Medina in second spot now, looking for a 6.01. Owen Wright. He's had a shaky performance so far here in the first heat of round 4. He needs an 8.23 to jump up into the #1 position. 19.5 minutes to go.
Well, Ronnie, if you're going to have a shaky performance, this is the round to do it. You know, no losers round. He's, you know, obviously the bonus being you're going to skip straight into the quarterfinals, but you're not out of the event.
Just thinking about some of the rookies that have joined this elite group in 2017. Some of them still have so much growth in their surfing. Some of them have been chipping away on the QS for some time, and their surfing suits the tour schedule better than it suits the QS. I think Joan Duru is one of those competitors, a big, powerful kid with a lot of competitive experience. He's even had reps as a wildcard at the championship tour level, so he's just relishing the opportunity to compete full-time.
Would agree, you know, and not having to do, you know, find yourself so much confidence that you don't have to do that whole QS grind to add all of those extra events onto your calendar. I mean, it makes it really challenging. Maybe just now focusing on those direct QS 10,000 events, maybe the European, at the end of the leg, you know, there's 2 6,000s that are in the Azores, you know, and there's one more, other one you can help me, remind me, but they're both in Europe back to back. And those are helpful to pick up big points. Oh, Pantene, Spain. So those are two that are critical kind of in that mid part of the year, and you can really kind of bring back your season at that point, knowing where you are in the beginning of the season of the championship tour.
Here we go. Owen Wright trying to make the jump from third up into first. He needs an 8.23. Ducks under cover there for a moment, but he's got his eyes fixed down the line as he hooks into the pocket now. A solid hit, a big tall wall to play with, and he whacks it once again. So that'll be his best wave.
Right in the mix now. I mean, and now each surfer has a solid wave. Nothing excellent yet, but A 7.33 for Medina, 7.5 for Joan Deroux. You feel like this score is going to be right there in that same level. So the heat is on.
It's on the street. 17 minutes and
Crack
20
yourself
seconds
up, Ronnie,
to go.
huh?
Oh, I'm having a great time, Pete. Sorry that one went over your head.
It did, way over. Here we go. Let's take a look at this replay here. Clean wall. I mean, the angle of the wind turned a little bit. So this wave nice and smooth. And these last two turns, very critical. That one there, vertical, and then again, stays with it with speed. So like I said, I feel like this score is going to be right there in the same zone as Medina and Deroux.
Well, Surfline had a really rough go at it in Fiji. Everything they predicted, it kind of came out differently. The day we woke up and we looked at what was presented out there at Cloudbreak, but they've been hitting the nail right on the head here at JBay.
And this is probably one of the more difficult oceans to really, truly get a sense. We don't have factual buoys to come off of. You know, those are always nice if you've got buoys that are thousands of miles away or whatever. You can kind of see a swell. Also, you've got the Jason satellite so far down below. That satellite gives you kind of an understanding of what the actual winds are happening factually. But that read, it gets funny down here at the bottom of the world. So you really don't have a lot of factual information that you can run off of. You've got to kind of understand the way the oceans are and believe in the computer models and, you know, and then kind of gut check and make sure that you understand what's going to happen. Angle of swell means a lot here too. I think a lot of the reason why the energy we're seeing now is because it has that south angle and it gets right on top of the point here. And so you're going to get all the sides of the ocean that's out there.
And I think the wind predictions is really what they've nailed, because we knew there was going to be some swell, but even yesterday we were all scratching our heads saying, why aren't they running? There's sets pouring through this place, but they went on hold for 2.5 hours. You know, the wind picked up. There was that real difficult texture on the face of these waves, and even in the free surfing we weren't seeing big turns laid down. So it was just a really solid call from the Commissioner's office with that help of the forecasters, and we got optimum conditions.
We have to give a lot of credit to the surf director as well. I mean, I think that each event they have a surf director, which is really that local talent that lives here, sees this wave, analyzes this wave to a T, and you bring that kind of opinion in.
Here we go, Medina up, tucking in on the first section, getting a nice pit. Solid little hit under the lip there, wants to stay with this one. Gets that little hop happening to get down the line. Sticks it to the lip, a little float to set up this inside run through the barrel. He's still rolling through this one. That's got to feel good. And more to give on the inside. Really pushing hard on the tail through the end of that backhand carve and bashing over the foam on that last section.
Really easy call. That was by far the best wave of the heat. If you look at the Owen Wright 8, which he just received, this is much better. Barrel on the outside, some huge turns, and a really good barrel on the inside. I almost see this going, it could go to that optimal, you know, could it be a 10? I mean, it's something that we can think about, because that was some great surfing there. There were some high impact moves, and that barrel on the inside, even this one on the outside, I mean, straight into it, comes out clean with speed, little down carve, it sets up the midsection there. That was a critical hit. Wasn't an easy section. He's had to turn down underneath the lip. You know, the only slow part there was he had to kind of hop to get around it, but he connects with the lip again and then sets this up. Wasn't going to make a mistake this time. Barely slowed down, just flies out of it. And again, to finish, very strong. He does that. A lot of variety for these backhand turns as well. So I would say this is, you know, again, it's pretty easy to say it's going to be the best wave of the heat, you know, but upwards of how much better than the 8 of Owen. See that hop there? He had to get around that section. Somehow connects, but look at this, setting up this barrel here. And this is, those little kick stalls are what slows him down. And look at, he just pulls right in, up on the foam ball. Had the stability to grab the arm and put the hand into the wall. And that really helps you to keep that speed and tightens you up, makes you a lot smaller so you can get through that barrel.
We know how good he is in the tube. A 2-time runner-up at the Pipe Masters. He's taken the event out in Tahiti before, but I think he's technical backhand tube riding really on show there. This is a tough wave to surf. He got it wrong early on, but he corrected so well just now. And a 9.07 is the reward.
Well, you'd have to say, too, you know, you're right. You know, what he's been able to do in Fiji and in Tahiti on the forehand and those barrel riding skills. But at Pipeline, a lot of those days that he had to go through heats, and even the final against Julian Wilson, his best scores were coming off of barrels on the rights at backdoor. And surfing backdoor on your backhand, it's freaky. It is a hard wave to ride. And so it's one of those things that he's good both on the forehand and the backhand in his tube riding skills.
Medina takes the lead. John Daru in second, chasing an 8.91. Owen Wright after an 8.41. Another big heat coming your way next. Moraes, Fanning, and Florence hit the lineup.
Welcome back to the Corona Open here at JBay. The waves are pumping. Huge sets are coming through. It's getting exciting out here in the channel as we had to dodge and weave and run away from that big set. We might even erode a couple. But it is a blast out here. The boys are going off. And Gabriel Medina really put a wave together just now to really enjoy himself out here. Double barrel. That last inside one, I had a nice view of him just perfectly threading the needle. That big set that came through, though, it almost seemed too big. And I mean, don't really want to say that, but Sean Thompson, if you're there, can the waves get a little bit too big for the reef here?
Yes, sometimes the waves can get a little bit too big. There's actually quite an abrupt drop-off about 25 meters out. So you'll have sort of the gradual shoaling of the shoreline, and then it drops off quite quickly. And when it breaks far out, when those 10-foot sets are breaking far out, they tend to be a bit mushy. So the guys are looking for the medium waves, the waves that really impact on the shallow part of the reef, the waves that give them the opportunity to really drive hard off the bottom with that acute angle and then do those huge re-entries off the top. And of course, find that double-up section that forms the great tube. So you don't really want the big ones, even though they look really impressive and they look really exciting to ride. You definitely want the kind of the mid-range waves.
That's for sure. And Juan Daru did really well at the start of that big set to pick off the first ride, which actually gave him the opportunity to let go of some big turns. A 7.5 is what he was able to chase down, but Medina, he just dropped the big one, a 9.07. Two nice barrel rides, Pete. He's out in front, but you wouldn't say he's in control at this stage. No,
I mean, all of them are in contention. You look at what Juan Daru needs, an 8.91. Owen Wright needs an 8.41. You would say conditions are very conducive, and also the fact that there is such a high consistency in these sets over and over and over, they're getting reps. So you think these guys are at least going to get one opportunity, maybe two in this last, just under 9 minutes.
Just a couple of years back, Medina turned it all around with a big finish, a quarterfinal finish here at Jeffreys Bay. It just seems like this has been one of the waves that he's struggled to really reel in, struggled to figure out a little more than others, but still, he's had excellent numbers, and like I mentioned, a quarterfinal, but I don't know, this year he's looking really good in the free surfs, he's looking sharp. He really surfed that last wave well too.
You'd have to consider, I mean, heat surfing is just, you've got the best surfers in the world, and sometimes one mistake, there's so one mistake could cost you the heat. And you just don't know. I mean, if you were to reflect upon, all those past performances, I mean, he's always been one, in my opinion, that surfed, one of the top backhand surfers here. So, you know, it's just a matter of time, I think, just to have something click in for him. And
well,
maybe it's this one.
That's kind of the case wherever we go with Medina. He's one of the best backhand or one of the best frontside surfers at every stop on tour. But you know, the fact that he's been stopped short of the semis here, it just tells you that he's still figuring it out.
Yeah.
7.5 minutes to go. Let's hear from the winner of the last heat of round 3, Matt Wilkinson. The current Jeep ratings leader is with Rosie Hodge.
Well, Maddie Wilco, round 2, round 3 out of the way. That's got to feel good. Now you can really just open up.
Yeah, for sure. That's a pretty scary round. That's kind of the difference between and a throwaway. So it's nice to get that one out of the way. And I don't know, that being last heat of the round was just, when the waves are like this, it's so intense. You're like, since first thing this morning, every time a set's come through, I've been like, oh, I wish I was on that thing. And there's just like 20 waves in every set and 20 sections on every wave. And it's like, I think the hardest thing in the world for a surfer to sit and watch that all day. So it was pretty hard to calm down, but I sorted my stuff out and got ready and went out there and did what I had to do.
And coming up against a fellow Australian, especially Jack, you've probably surfed against him in junior contests. I mean, what is that like for you? Yeah, Jack's a great surfer. I've surfed against him a bit, and he's well, pretty much anyone on their forehand's pretty scary with the barrels out here. They're really tricky and kind of pulsy barrels, so on your backhand it's really hard, but I've been watching natural footers all day get nice barrels, so I knew I was going to stick to trying to do big turns on big sections, and I was pretty sure Jack was going to hunt some barrels. And when I turned around after my second score, I saw him coming out of the barrel, and I was like, I didn't see the rest of the wave, so I didn't know if it was a 10 or a 4, and I was paddling out. I was like, asked the jet ski, I was like, was Jack one crazy? And he's like, I don't know. So I don't know. It's just like, whether you're in a heat or a free surf or whatever, the waves are so good. I'm stoked to get to go back out there. And we saw it in Fiji. You still have that another level to get to. Is that how you're feeling, like you've really paced yourself throughout this event?
Yeah, definitely. I don't feel like I've had an unreal heat yet, and the waves are there to kind of have one of those heats. So hopefully this afternoon in the 3-manner you can't lose. So I'll be trying to hunt some big sets and hit some big sections.
All the best, Matty. We'll see you later on.
Matty Wilkinson looking sharp, saying that he doesn't feel like he's really had a magic heat just yet, but definitely looked more comfortable in that last heat of the 3rd round than he had in the previous 2 battles that he surfed.
You know, the interesting thing to me was that he kind of was spot on about how amped up and freaked out you get being that last heat of the round, having to deal with watching all of your fellow competitors, especially those title contenders, surf your heats and make it. You know, and then all of a sudden you've got to kind of bring that same type of performance. It can make you nervous, and I think that's why it was so crucial for Matt to get that first wave and post that first number, because it really settled him in.
Well, he's going to be in the same scenario this afternoon too. Even though it is a non-elimination heat, he's going to be watching those competitors who have the opportunity to overtake him on the leaderboard. He's going to be watching them surf, and it might put some pressure on. At the moment, the 1-manner that's right there in the mix, just behind him on the ratings, is Owen Wright. And Owen's coming off the back of 2 magic performances here at Jeffries this year, and at the moment nothing's going right for him. Here we go, Joan Daru chasing down that 8.91. He also had a bizarre fall on his last ride. Having a good go at this ride though. Nice little float, has so much speed. There's a solid finish. Love how he whipped his board up into the pocket then.
You know, I think that the amount of speed carried throughout all those maneuvers, the judges will take notice. Again, that finish, high impact with a ton of speed. The floater, so sketchy in the wind, you know, but it does set him up with all that speed for that final couple maneuvers. You know, is it the 8.91? You know, we have to compare it to the 907. Feel like it's going to be just shy, but that's, you know, my personal opinion on it. I mean, Ronnie, are you thinking we're kind of in that same realm?
Definitely felt like it was great that he had all that speed, but it it seemed at times maybe he had too much. He almost looked a little wobbly until he washed off the appropriate amount to let go of a big turn with a lot of momentum at the end.
Remember the fall that he had, the funky fall.
That start was huge.
Yeah, it was, and that's exactly what he needed to do. But right here, you see, he almost does the exact same thing again, where he almost stumbled and fell forward. A little stick of the rail, but keeps it together. And then this floater, he's looking for the barrel and then adjusted straight into the floater, but there carves it back. And then the high impact move here, bang, nice and vertical. Judges will eat that part of it up. He had the good start, 8.91. Gosh, we'll see. I mean, here's the 9. We can compare it right here for us. I mean, you folks at home, the barrel is really the difference for me. And then there's a couple big turns in this one too. I mean, the slow middle, but this last exchange with the barrel, I mean, this is a solid barrel.
We'll get back to some comparisons later on, but right now we've got big waves approaching the lineup. Owen Wright's having a look at this one. We're waiting on a huge score to drop for Juan Daru, wondering if it's going to get him in the lead. Owen Wright, meanwhile, at this stage of the game, looking for an 8.41. So well paced. But he goes down once again, so he's fallen on his last 3 waves now.
Yeah, that's critical for Owen.
Let's see what Medina can do. He might be chasing a score with this ride. Just readjust in time to get that turn off and have enough speed to get down the line. So some real size in the conditions. And he's celebrating.
He's sure selling it. There was a turn on this wave on the outside that we're going to see in the replay. It was mental. The takeoff was very difficult. But you look at Juan Daru, 8.91 needed, and he's the scores are starting to post.
It's going to fall short, an 8.57. Definitely had a strong start and a big finish, but in between those 2 moves, he was kind of chasing that ride down. We'll see the start of Medina's wave in a second. He's trying to get rid of a 7.33 to get further ahead.
How hard is that takeoff at this point in the day? You're tired, fatigued, and he somehow pulls it off and keeps the speed and does a turn like that. Again, look at this section here. Big section, tags it, carries all that speed. So he's had high impact moves on the outside on a solid set wave. You would feel like this is going to better the 7.33. The only real region that got a little weird for him, he had to turn down, but celebrates the finish, because I feel like all of that surfing he did on the outside section, those big moves on the outside, count for a lot.
Well, he's on the inside negotiating that muscle-covered rock. The heat has come to a close, waiting on numbers to come through. Owen Wright, he fell on his last ride. He's not going to get into the quarterfinals. He's going to have to fight his way through round 5. Juan Daru, well, he fell short on his last wave. He was after a high 8. He got an 8.57. So Medina's going to get the win here. We're just wondering if he's going to replace the 7.33.
He's going to add some points for fantasy. I got to catch you, Ron. You're in the lead.
Am I?
No, well, you're second.
Who's in front in our group?
D's Nuts. That's the name of the team. Ross Williams still plays with us, and he's in there. He's leading.
Well, the score is in, a 9.67 for Gabriel Medina. He gets the jump into the quarterfinals. We've got another big round 4 clash coming your way right after this. Don't miss it. Frederico Moraes, Mick Fanning and John Florence about to head out. Martin Potter and Joe Turpel will step in for the call.
turns you can do at speed is just incredible. It gets to like just in front of like the grandstand here and it just slows up a bit and you've got so much speed and you can just rip into it. That to me is the best part.
Beautiful day it's been here at the Corona Open JBay. Stop number 6 of the World Surf League Championship Tour. We have the hopes of getting through round 3, now round 4, and the surf is still pumping. Joe Chappelle alongside former world champ Martin Potter. And, oh man, Potts, we got to get you in the water quick. I'm sorry, man. A world champ held out from surfing perfect waves all day. You going to be okay?
Yeah, it's some sort of torture, I think, Joe. But I tell you what, it's been amazing. What a day it's been. 10-point rides, that last hit, obviously just packed with goofy footers. Some incredible stuff from all three, Gabriel Medina, Owen Wright and Juan Daru, but out in the water at the moment. Another fantastic heat. 2 world champions up against the rookie, Frederica Morais, Mick Fanning and John Florence. And the waves are pumping.
So many great storylines. Frederica Morais joins Juan Daru as the last 2 rookies standing here in the event at Jeffreys Bay. Freddie got started during the break.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it is just non-stop waves. We've seen some of the biggest sets of the day come through in that last heat, so it is no sign of slowing down. Frederica Morais loves this kind of conditions, said it's just like home as we see him flying down the line. He's got his work cut out, but I tell you what, this kid doesn't mind coming up against the big names, especially in these conditions. He's a big boy and he handles it well, just like that. Beautiful searing maneuver from Frederica Morais and backs it up again. Just a series of beautiful turns, combination of major maneuvers, speed management, and then drives through the inside, a little bit of a head dip there. But finishing off nicely is the young fella from Portugal. What a wave to start the heat, and many more to come.
He had to start off that way with the caliber of athletes in this lineup. Reigning world champ John Florence also with a start.
Yeah, John, first wave of the set. A little bit smaller than Frederico's, a little bit more wind involved. That wind has picked up, but I tell you what, it's brought the swell in, that's for sure. John on the back of a couple of incredible heats. He's served twice so far in this event. He's got 5 9-point rides to his name. Can he get more? Let's have a look. Beautiful slash on the inside. Just that casual approach from John, just waiting for the wave to stand up, and then he just capitalizes with some big turns. So I'm going to have to say advantage Morais on that exchange.
John Florence getting a bit of a warm-up on that one. Noticing that wind really blowing strong out in this lineup. We saw maybe some of the biggest waves in the last heat roll through in the all-goofy foot matchup. The Medina one will continue with Fanning. Defending his title here at JBay, still looking solid. First turn, big sweep off the roof. Now setting up this inside track. Clean bottom turn, just a subtle fade to set up this section. Needed something big here. Fanning just guiding that top turn into a heavy section to pull in on and sneaks the exit. Smart move just to get the vision real quick and the completion. And now all 3 surfers on the board.
Yeah, nothing better than that vision, is there, Joe? It's just amazing how we see all these guys, I mean, just trying to find that barrel. I mean, obviously those big searing rail turns are the go, but really what these guys are looking for is that inside barrel through impossibles. We talk about the advantage going to Morais on that opening exchange. Have a look at that. What a way to start against 2 world champions.
9.60 for the rookie from Portugal. They call him Kikish back home. Frederico came with a big reputation. Got an opportunity as a wild card back at Super Tubos in Portugal and made it all the way to the quarterfinals. He was a giant killer back then, taking out Kelly a couple of times in that event. So he had a huge reputation before he qualified. And now starting off strong with a 9.6. Let's have another look.
Yeah, well, that's exactly how you want to start. Talk about how he's feeling right at home. And I tell you what, he's looking absolutely fantastic. Just nice, cool, calm approach. And you know, this is the thing with Jeffreys Bay. Take your time, get into the groove, find that rhythm. And once you do, you sort of just seem to, I don't know, unload those big turns. And Morais is capitalizing. Look at this right here, just holding that rail, extending that body. Beautiful surfing from Frederica Morais. And again, just mixing it up. Combination of major turns here from The young man from Portugal flying the flag, making his country very, very proud, that's for sure. Marias milking this one all the way down through the inside, and as you said, Joe, 9.60. 2 judges through 9.8s and 3 judges through 9.5s. You take the high and the low, and there you have your score.
It's been a very high-scoring day. Last couple of days of competition with perfection we've had here at Jeffries. Coming up next is the 10 Club. Jordy Smith takes on Felipe Toledo and Julian Wilson. Each one of those surfers has at least 110. Smith, the perfect heat that happened earlier today, creating history here on Mandela Day as we're hoping to finish all of round 4. Looks like we're in motion to do so. Really impressed too with the heat before Potts. Medina, 4 straight quarterfinals in his career at Jeffries Bay. Let's see if he can make his first semifinal this year.
I've got a funny feeling that he is going to better that result. 3 back-to-back quarterfinals here. It's kind of an event that kickstarts his year. I mean, the year after he won his world title, JBay was where he started firing again, got himself back into that world title race. Everyone was saying, oh, he's slipping up, he's sliding down the rankings, but in classic Medina fashion, just there's that one wave that just kick-started his year, and he's looking very, very dangerous.
Looking forward to those matchups as they continue. Remember, winner of this heat moves straight to the quarterfinals, and Medina now hanging out with Rosie Hodge.
Well, Gabriel Medina, our first quarterfinalist, we were just talking earlier about how much energy you use during these heats. It seemed to pick up a couple feet while you guys were out there. What training do you do to prepare for those heats?
I've been surfing a lot. Just, as I said, trying my boards. And yeah, this board is feeling really good. And the waves are amazing. It's a bit tricky out there, but when you find it, it's really good. And yeah, I knew that was going to be a hard heat against Owen and Joan. They've been surfing really good, and even on the free surfs, I've been watching them a lot, and yeah, I'm happy.
And 3 goofy footers, similar surfing. What do you think your point of difference and your strengths in that heat were?
I could go on Owen's wave in the end, but I choose to wait a little bit, you know, so. I don't know, I have, how can I say when you wait? Patient? Yeah. So I had a little bit of patience, and I got the last one, was really good. And yeah, pretty much in the whole heat, you know, I've been just trying to get the good ones, just to make sure. It's hard to pick the good ones because the current is really strong and it's big, and yeah, and every wave is really good, so you had to choose.
Well, that's the challenge today, and you can just tell that it's such a natural emotion once you finish a wave that you're really ecstatic about getting that ride. Do you feel that energy?
Yeah, I feel like when I do a good wave, when I make a good wave, yeah, it feels really good. I think it's the best feeling, you know, when you do your last turn and you feel like, oh, that was a 9, that was pretty good, and yeah, that felt good.
Great surfing. We'll see you in the quarterfinals.
Gabriel Medina happy with the feeling of flying through round 4, skipping round 5, back into the quarterfinals, where he's repeated every single year that he's had JBay on the calendar. When he was a rookie on tour, JBay had taken a hiatus from the championship tour, and then they got the call back up in 2014, and he's been in the final series ever since. For the Goofy Foots, that was an all Goofy Foot matchup. Joan Duru had a brilliant start. So now thinking about how round 5's looked, and Owen Wright and Duru will be split up in the next round. It could be taken on 2nd and 3rd of this matchup, which is going to be a huge statement to make.
Yeah, well, I mean, this heat's very far from over, but first initial scores that have been dropped, a 9.6 for Marias. He has the world champs against the rope somewhat, and just needs to back it up, though. You heard Medina say it's pretty tricky to find the good ones, but when you do, you kick out of a good score down here at Jeffries Bay, and it kind of energizes you, Joe. It gives you that energy. I mean, there's so much power out here. Mick Fanning up and riding.
A 4-time JBay champ, just casually up and out. He was talking about his performance earlier today, and he was pretty critical on his wave selection. Said he wanted to be on better waves that heat. He left with his high score at a 7.77. This one he already has a 7.5 combined total. Florence, the one with a 7.17, and Marias a 9.6. So all three surfers dealt with the same conditions. You just have to be that one on the roll priority. And sometimes these athletes talk about how much more crowded it feels in the three-man heats compared to what they had earlier.
I think you've got to do what Gabriel said. I mean, he hit the nail on the head. Patience. There's plenty of waves coming through. You only need 2 good ones. You know, just take your time. If you're out of rotation with the sets, and don't take a substandard wave, because it's not going to be good enough to win these heats anymore. You've got to wait for the good ones. And if you're out of rotation, stay out there for that next set to arrive and find a good one.
More waves on the way, Potts with priorities. The world champ, John Florence, deep bottom turn, layback hack. Right in front of the oncoming section. Now just stretching it out, waiting for a second maneuver, a big down carve wrap with the extension. He's got some room to slowly emerge out in front. He'll lay low. He wants this thing to just open wide up, standing tall in the pit. Florence has some room to move. Now finishing with a big layback dagger in the closeout session. Janssen's calling it a 10. Everyone's on their feet. Did we finally get another 10-point ride? It's been a few heats.
Well, I'll tell you what, if that's a 10, then Sean's prediction has come to fruition, because that'll be the 4th 10 of the day. And that carving maneuver, I thought he'd maybe faded a little bit too much, Joe, but it was absolutely perfect. Let's have a look. Using his priority. Bit of a crumbly start. Nice opening maneuver. Pumping down the line, waiting for it to stand up. Just fading, taking his time. Now watch this turn here, ladies and gentlemen. Carves it and then carves it again. Now I thought, okay, hang on a sec. What's he done? He's maybe faded a little bit too much. Coming around the section, and what has it done? It just put him in the absolute perfect position right there. I mean, are you kidding me? As he comes flying out at the end of this one and then does this just for good measure. Well, Ronnie Blakey threw 10 fingers up, and guess what, Ronnie? It is a perfect 10.
10-point ride, the 4th on the day. Florence, all casual in the pit, had plenty of room to move, and came out and had more for us. A big layback hack just to seal the deal.
Oh, my goodness. That was probably one of the best surfed waves I've seen today, as far as positioning, as far as timing, as far as just reading the wave to a point where this maneuver here, carving into a carve and putting himself so far behind the whitewater. Incredible stuff from John Florence.
He just understood where he was in this wave, knows where the double up is, well overhead, always casual. One of the best barrel riders in the world. Doesn't matter if it's at Pipe or Chopu or at Jeffreys Bay.
Yep.
Out in front and now all the way into the lead.
Well, Sean hasn't quite got his wish yet. He's looking for carves to get a 10. That was a good size barrel, plus the carve, Sean.
Oh, that was so amazing to see. I mean, and I had my thing ready here, and it was fantastic to see. What an incredible tube ride. And one of the best things he did there was that full-on old school style carve back right into the pit. We used to call that a fade.
Yeah.
And it was so nice. That absolutely set him up for that incredible tube ride in the end. So John Florence, man, he saw Geordie's 210s, and he's going, man, I'm in this race too.
And look what we have looking out the back, Sean. Which one looks like the best one for you to take off on?
Wow, it's bombing out the back there. That was a set that cleaned up all the surfers. I think the bigger ones are just too big. They're like right off the reef, and the guys really need to look for those mid-sized waves. Like the wave that John took was perfect. He just seems to be able to read this wave so well, and how he read that section, doing that deep stall, that deep fade, and then still managing to make it was amazing.
What a day of professional surfing here at Jeffreys Bay. This will go in the record books as one of the best days ever, including a perfect heat from Jordy Smith. And he's also coming up next. Florence was still on deck when Jordy got his first 10 of that heat. He quickly wanted to know what happened, what did he do. These guys influence each other in such a positive way. And this is definitely fired up John. 17.17 total. Frederico needs a 7.58. Fanning now comboed for the win at the moment with plenty of time to go.
I mean, how would you be feeling like Frederico Moraes just laid down some serious turns and dropped a 9.60 and thinking, okay, I think I've got this. I think I'm in a good situation. And then all of a sudden, John drops a perfect 10.
Well, I imagine Coach Ross Williams just gave him the advice, get a 10, establish yourself, right, Rosie?
Yeah, that's it, and a proud moment for Ross. I mean, Ross, John's first perfect 10 this year. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's been, you know, a long time in the waiting.
Yeah, that's incredible. I didn't realize that that was his first 10. It seems like he's had, what, 50 this year, but like I think I told you earlier, I don't think he cares too much. He's just the biggest thing for John is he's psyched on getting wins, you know. So that'll be a little icing for sure.
And it's so important for him to pull it out at this moment because Frederick Moraes has that 9.6 in his scoreline. I know it's a 3-man heat, but you still want to advance into the quarterfinals. Definitely.
I mean, the second you kind of take things lightly, next thing you know, you're in that, you know, do or die round and you're out of here. So, you know, John's super focused. The waves are pumping now. It's pretty radical out there.
And it looks like he's on a wave right now. Do you want to talk us through this one?
Well, that was by far the best surfing I've seen from Frederico. That 9.6 was incredible. All 3 or 4 of those turns were really crazy. So I'm impressed with him. This heat's far from over.
Definitely. Well, back to you guys. It looks like it's action-packed.
Thank you, Rosie and Ross Williams. Moraes still through the end section of his ride as he's hoping that thing is going to wrap him up like it does. Frederico looking for the exit way down the line. He'll punch free. Right into Fanning as it's his turn to fire up and break the combo. Looks back, puts up the number 7.
Yeah, he said that was a 7.
So he's asking for a 7-point ride. I've never seen that before.
That was unbelievable. You know, there's been some claims. There's been some great claims. Judson did the heart one. There's been signed the check from Geordie. There's ringing the bell. Mick just goes, it was a 7. Give me a 7.
When the waves are firing, it brings the best out of these athletes. Also, these round 4 matchups, I think, really have true meaning when the waves are solid and really good so they can let loose a bit. Let's see what happened on the start of Frederico's wave.
All right, Frederico Moraes, what's he looking for? He's looking for a 7.58, but really he needs another 9. At least another 9 if he's going to take this heat out because John is on a heater. Mick is not far behind, that's for sure. Moraes up into the lip again, beautiful turn. I love the smooth transition between his maneuvers, Joe. There's no messing around. There's no little glitches. Nice, clean, mistake-free surfing. That's what it's going to take to win this heat. Laying the board on the rail. Again, a beautiful turn right there. The Condor would be proud of that one. As he comes off the bottom again, waiting for the barrel. Now he slides in, driving through the section. Is he going to come out? Not a clean exit, but fights his way through there. And Moraes is going to drop another good score. How far up? Who knows? Let's have a look at Mick 7. Well, he's claiming it's a 7, so let's have a look at it. Beautiful searing maneuver from Mick. Changed up his equipment, Joe. Got the inside info. It's a channel bottom on the advice of Fletchy. Let's see if it pays off. Beautiful turn there from Mick. He draws off the bottom again. Another searing maneuver. What a heat we've got on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Are you not entertained? And as we click to another camera angle, Mick Fanning just absolutely slashes that one and says, yep, that's a 7.
I liked it a little better than a 7.
I think maybe he's underselling himself, Joe. I think that's going to be maybe up in the 8-point range.
Now, is that going to influence the panel claims with the number that he's asking for?
What if the judges already jotted something down and went, whoops, Mick wants a 7, let's give him a 7.
Fanning started with a 2, 5-1-7 on the warm-up in this matchup. Definitely his best wave so far in his comeback to catch the momentum of Moraes and John Florence. Florence joining that 10 club here at JBay. Moraes into the 9s and maybe even a better performance on that last effort, finishing with a really healthy tube ride.
Yeah. Well, the judges are having a good long hard think about it, Joe. He's going to need high 9s. I mean, John's already got a 10. You can guarantee that 717 is long gone by this next exchange. He's starting to feel it. He wants to well, he's the kind of guy that gets inspired by performances. Obviously, Geordie with those 2 10s. I think John wants one of his own.
He's looking forward to it. He already has his 10, first of the year, first at JBay for Florence. 19-plus totals he threw down in opening round of the competition. And I think, like Ross was thinking, like he almost feels like he has multiple 10s from his performance at Margaret River. That was groundbreaking, but it was just multiple reigning 9s as the judges reviewing some of the big numbers of this heat so far.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, a lot to digest for the judges right now. I feel sorry for them. because there is so much going on. And look at the scores. I think Mick Fanning undersold himself big time. Scores dropping for Frederico and Mick, and what a heat we've got, Joe.
Fanning, 9.73, putting himself right in the mix. He's looking back going, I asked for a 7 there. Now he needs a 9.34. He absolutely blitzed some big sections there. Classic arcs from one of the best of all time at JBay. He's been in the final every year since 2011. Defending champ over John Florence. So we're seeing this matchup a little bit earlier this year since Mick's outside the top 10.
Yeah, well, that's crazy, isn't it? It's not a good sign for the top seeds with Mick Fanning lurking around in that seeding zone. Frederico Marias, a 9.6 and 9.47. Mick Fanning, a 9.73. John Florence, a 10. I just can't handle this anymore.
Let Potts go surf. Let him get a part of it. 9s and 10s all day. We're all scoring. 12:30 to go in this one in round 4, heat number 2, as Frederico Marias is leading. We'll be back for more perfection at JBay after this. Welcome back to a super round 4 matchup with 4 world titles involved. John, the reigning world champ. Mick Fanning, 3-time world champ. Fanning with 4 JBay titles. The first one all started for Mick back in 2002 as a rookie. A lot's changed since then. He beat Mick Lowe in the final. Got past Danny Wills in the semis. Scored on your top 3 waves back then. So he had a 27+ combined total in that final, way back when he was just a rookie on tour. Now we changed the system to top 2 waves. He had a couple of events where he was knocked out a little bit early, but ever since the tour brought back this event, he's just been in repeat finals, looking for his 5th title this season and perfection as far as waves are concerned. Mick has a 9.73, second highest score, just under John's perfect 10, and the rookie has pocket scores that you would just dream of coming into the seat. 9.6, 9.47, and a lead over the world champions.
Well, we know Mick is not a very good judge because he gave himself a 7 on that, and it was actually a 9.73. So stick to your day job, Mick. Stick to ripping this place to pieces. Back in the heat, though, that's for sure.
He's been hard on himself.
He's been hard on himself, hasn't he? But guess what? He's only looking for a 9.34, so not much, really. John needs a 9.07 with that 10-point ride under his belt.
Impressive to see John still in that situation where he's required to go into the 9s. Something that he's been doing so many events this year. Remember, John's still world number 2, just with a 250-point difference under Matt Wilkinson. Here comes Florence, using priority, looking for the score. Casual wrap. Keeps that higher line approach on the second cutty. Now getting down to the bottom. Speed jam off the lip. Now starting to heat up, looking for something big down the line. Pulls him behind the section, and he punches free.
Throwaway.
Even though that barrel was challenging, yeah, you're thinking he needs so much more. But what a solid effort just getting the exit. I just love seeing John in smaller conditions, awkward barrels. He's a tall guy.
Yeah.
He's so good at riding the tube. It's insane.
He's so strong as well. That's the thing, Joe. He's a super strong kid. He's Remember seeing that footage of him doing the duck dive the length of a pool? I mean, that's he's a fish, really. He you know, he's born in the ocean. He belongs in the ocean, and he's amazing waterman. So, yeah, that little whitewater was nothing for John to fight his way through, but he's going to need a lot more than that, that's for sure. Using his priority on this occasion, 8 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. Setting it up, waiting for it. He's feeling it. He needs a big score. He needs a 9.07. Quick, lightning fast turn, and then pulls straight up into it. Backdoors the section here. Up and over the foam ball, and somehow fights his way through. So, not going to be enough for John. Back to the drawing board, back to the end of the rotation. Mick Fanning with priority. He needs a 9.34. Marias out the back. Second priority. Pocket nines, 9.6, 9.47. For him to better his situation, he's got to better a 9.47.
Seeing Marias with his rhythm that he has, it really makes a lot of sense. Frederico's a guy that wasn't one of those surfers that was worried coming into the Triple Crown on the North Shore. From the challenging big waves of Haleiwa and Sunset Beach, he actually looked forward to it, and that's really the big reason why he was able to qualify as a rookie this year. Doesn't mind the challenge of surfing big Sunset. He loves bigger walls, having a lot of speed here, so he can just time it well. Working closely with Richard Dog Marsh, a guy that is on tours. They got the lead over Mick at the moment, but he's up fresh off a 9.73. Drives into the lift. There's a big layback, quick in transition. Merrill's not going to let him in. Fades it, and he's still left searching for more.
Yeah, good move right there. Kind of went a bit fat through that inside section. You need that wave to stand up to get those big scores. Mick Fanning identifying that immediately. Didn't want to waste too much time and effort. 6.5 minutes remaining, so there's going to be enough time for these guys to maybe get one more ride each, and it's going to have to be big ones. John needs a 9.07 and Mick looking for a 9.34. Frederico Moraes now with priority. He's just got to sit and wait. He's got to have that patience game now. Why? Because he's got to better a 9.47 if he wants to increase his lead.
What a huge total out in front for all surfers. They have massive numbers. Frederico, the rookie on tour, fighting for that Rookie of the Year honor. Representing Portugal on the top 34. Tiago Pettis is so proud that he passed the torch to someone that's making so much sense of the tour. All the competitors are fired up. Rosie's with Jadson Andre.
That's right. Well, Jadson Andre enjoying a crunchy, sipping on some coffee. I mean, what do you make of this heat? Everyone's got nines in their scoreline.
I think it's like the best swimming hits ever. Like, just maybe it's kind of, Frederic is the bomb again. I think just maybe at the same level as Mick, John, and Kelly at Pipe a few years ago. So I don't know. I'm frothing. John.
Well, I think the surprise is this man that's up and riding right now, Frederic, the rookie. He's actually leading this heat. Are you surprised by that with such experienced surfers?
No, I'm not surprised at all, because that's pretty much where Freddie's grow up, and he really knows how to surf those waves. So yeah, it's kind of, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. I'm not really able to talk because I'm really excited to watch the surf. But yeah, it's awesome.
Can't even tear his eyes off the lineup, guys. This heat has been amazing.
And John Jones' 10-point ride was the easiest 10 to drop ever. So yeah.
That's his first 10 this whole season. Are you surprised by that?
No, I mean, not surprised, because it's not easy to drop a 10-point ride. But as I said, that was the easiest 10-point, like easiest 10 points to give to someone was that one.
Oh, JD, thanks for your time. Enjoy your coffee and your crunchy. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Rosie. Jadson Andre is energetic in the lineup. He's energetic on land. He barely could sit in his seat right now. He's watching every wave going by. It really just shows what kind of person he is. He's one of the favorites on tour. Yep. Jadson's actually really close friends with Mick Fanning as well. He makes everyone laugh, but his focus now is on this three-man heat, which he's calling one of his favorites round 4 matchups of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Jaddy. That's for sure. And come final stage, Joe, when that final hits the water, Jadson will be sitting exactly where he is, having a cup of coffee and a crunchy, enjoying it. He's not going anywhere, let me tell you.
Oh, Jadson was in the round with John Florence earlier today. Ended up going down, but he wanted to stick around for this one. He knows Frederico's strengths. There's a lot of waves in Portugal, which we've known for a while that he's been able to really warm up on. Some bigger waves as well. A lot of power. He has such a strong rail game. And I just love that he never gets nervous. We saw that when he'd get opportunities as a wild card. He'd have the biggest names of the sport, and it gave him more motivation. So now he's got John and Mick. It's no surprise he's taking control of this heat.
You know what? He just quietens things down. You know, he doesn't let those big situations ruffle his feathers. Portugal's got plenty of big waves to offer. It's cold water. It's wetsuits. It's rocks. It's there's a wave just down the road from where he lives called Coches that really is very similar to this. Maybe not as long, but very similar. So, he's got that under his belt. Couple that with, a bit of experience, a bit of wave knowledge, some talent, and we see him leading this heat right now.
Remember, second and third deal with round 5. Later on in the waiting period, Surfline letting us know we still have some great days to look forward to. Tomorrow and the next day looks solid. KP's looking at both of those closely to decide a finish where we'll crown a champion of the Corona Open, JBay. Fanning looking for a 5th title this year. A guy that loves to skip round 5, has to deal with it sometimes. And even in 2014, he had to go all the way from round 5 to the finish. Didn't run out of gas, was able to beat Joel Parkinson that year. As you see the green head of Felipe, that means the 10 Club is coming up next.
What a classic story too. He dyed it grey, and because he was swimming in the swimming pool, the chlorine bleached it green. But I think we'll forgive him for the haircut because his surfing has definitely shone through. He's going to be there's going to be a great heat this next one as well, but this one's not over yet. 1 minute 45 to go. Maybe a couple of lines coming through out the back. It looks like Mick Fanning with priority. John in second. Frederico Moraes in third. Priority situation. But really the story is Frederico's start. That 9.6. He backed it straight up though, didn't he? With a 9.47. John with a 10. Mick with a 9.73. This is the greatest show on earth right now.
Frederico Moraes with the 2nd highest combined heat total of the day, behind the perfect heat from Jordy Smith. One of his best performances so far in his rookie year on tour. We've had different breakthrough events where a rookie stood out this season. Last event it was Connor O'Leary. He's already knocked out, so it's a big moment for Frederico to shine. Already doing it with a final minute upon us.
Joe, out the back. Mick's got priority. Mick needing a 9.34, Joe.
And now with 50 seconds, Mick's going to make a move on this wave. First turn under the lip, a challenging one. He hangs on. Sets up that arc. Needs to be perfect. Needs a 9.34. Now starting to stall a bit to hug the pocket of the wave. Goes for another big top turn wrap. Another one that's going to hold him up high. You can tell Mick was hoping that thing was going to funnel and let him pull in. Not this time, and we're into the countdown. The rookie battling with world champions, making a huge statement for himself, and Richard Dogmarsh already celebrating a road right into the quarterfinals.
Wow, what a heat that was, Frederico Moraes, but Mick's up before the buzzer, Joe.
This will be the last wave scored. Can he pull off a miracle here? He's already just having a ball. Fanning and Florence will be dealing with round 5 as this one continues. And a rookie named Frederico Moraes, his name is just inflated even more as he's straight to the quarterfinals.
Wow. Amazing stuff right there from all 3 surfers. I mean, that's what we want to see. Win, lose or draw, I think everyone's going to be happy. John's got his first 10 of the year. Mick thought he got a 7. He actually got a 9.73, and Frederico came out firing, and he needed to do that, didn't he, to win that heat?
What a special matchup, a heat that the rookie will never forget. Frederico's into the quarterfinals. Coming up next, the 10 Club, led by Jordy Smith.
Probably when I see it coming. When I see that thing coming and I know I'm first in line, and I've been waiting out there for a little bit, it's my turn. I just kind of get little giggles, you know. Start paddling in and you just get sucked. A lot of guys, once they caught the wave, they start to froth out, but I'm already frothing before I even caught it.
Jordy Smith talking about the anticipation of knowing it's your turn. It's perfect Jeffreys Bay, and you're about to get the ride of your life. Well, that's happened a few times for Jordy Smith. A perfect heat in round 3, creating history for the first time ever at Jeffreys Bay. He captured 2 10s to get into the 10 club matchup. Felipe Toledo's 10 came yesterday. He had the walkthrough with Kelly's injury in round 3, so he is fired up to compete. And Julian Wilson turned in his 10 earlier today. It was an easy 10 to call, and now we'll see what they have left for us in round 4, heat number 3, pods. Here we go. Making the first move is South Africa's Jordy Smith, a 2-time JBay champ. Knifes a huge carve. Just getting his cool rhythm underway here. Nice layback, right on the money. Lays it into the lip again. Great form and power and flow for Jordy Smith. Little wrapping turn as he'll set up a little inside corner. He's hoping for a little bit more of a double up. Now starting to grow. Jordy's got the lip to work with. Big rip off the roof. Catching up to a late hit off the top, and that one's going to take him down. Now Felipe Toledo in his first heat of the day. Little fading turn, projection off the roof, he's down.
I was just about to say, Felipe's first heat of the day, so he's going to have a little bit more energy than the rest, right? He hasn't had to deal with this big lineup, but also he's coming out a little bit cold, so he's been sitting around watching all day. It can either work for or against, right?
Especially when you can overamp so easily. Watching all the 10s that went down. We asked Felipe what he'd do today. He said he was going to watch all day long, so he saw Jordy create history with his 10s. Fresh off the heat with Marias with back-to-back 9s. What happened here?
Well, let's have a look. Nice little opening maneuver from Felipe. So impressed with the work that this kid's done on his rail game. He's looking stronger. He's looking just way more dangerous, you know, and just sort of taking his eye off the prize, really. I think he was just looking more down the line and not focused on sticking that outside rail caught, and that's all it takes at that speed, really. Over the handlebars he goes.
When you think about the theme of this heat, being the 10 club, you think about Felipe. He's one guy that demands that score out of the panel, maybe more than anyone on the top 34 in performance conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've always said, you know, over the last couple of years, he has become definitely one of the best high-performance surfers in the world, right? So, you know, anything under that 6-foot range, Felipe is ultra dangerous. You know, but then what's happening now is that, you know, you're looking at him getting better in sort of heavier waves, and I think that's just going to be a theme, you know, in time to come. He's going to get way more dangerous in places like Chopu and Cloudbreak and even Pipeline. I mean, he's too good not to, Joe. The talent is right there, and it's all a matter of, you know, you look at big wave riders, you look at the guys that you know, ride the monsters. They didn't grow up like that. They learned how to do it. They grew into it. They finally worked it out, and Felipe's one of those guys. I think it's just a matter of time before he becomes a full, complete surfer.
So fun to watch Toledo really grow up on tour. He's still just 16 on his qualifying run year. Remember, he got a 10 on the road to qualify in a QS in Australia. He did a massive air, I believe it was in Newcastle, over William Cardoso. There was so much height, so much amplitude. He could land in transition in the flats. Before, you'd open the mags, it'd say how to do airs, and it'd say look for a soft landing. The Toledo area was kind of rewriting that. You can land wherever they want in transition and somehow stay healthy and intact to still follow it up with a big combo.
Yeah, it's that athleticism, you know, and we had him on the post show yesterday, and I asked him, is there any kind of special training that he does? Because he has amazing control over his body through the air, which is a really difficult thing to do. It's almost gymnastic-like, you know, and he said, no, it's just one of those things that I've grown up with. It's kind of a natural thing for him.
Now watching a wave setting up for Felipe Toledo from Ubatuba, Sao Paulo, Brazil, now residing in San Clemente, California. Just getting that flow down, carve the first section, little float, looking for something big here. Just draw that one further down the line. Nice clean hook. Now Toledo towards this impossible section. Going for more big turns off the top. Now driving through a serious hack in the pocket. He'll step off. Right into Julian Wilson, packing an absolute cave that's just racing down the line.
I think he wiped off just a little bit too much speed right there. You need to be coming into that section with speed, Joe. That was a gaping wide open tube ride. Opportunity missed there for Julian. Short sleeve wetsuit. So obviously Julian having a look at his board. He's already broken one today.
And they're doing so much work today fitness-wise. He's probably keeping his core nice and warm. He wants to stay loose and ready to compete, all fighting for a quarterfinal berth. The two-time JBay champ, local boys up. Arcs the first section. Clean connection on a messy little rooftop moment there for Smith. Little layback to fill in the gaps. Now it's starting to bottom out. Full wrap to put himself nice and deep. Now Paxton. Can he find a way to get out of there, and he'll get taken down. Jordy started with a 7-1-7. That's his second scoring ride. Toledo's best is about to lock in, and Julian Wilson just ending in the closeout section on the inside corner. This one's just warming up, Potts.
Yes, it is, Joe. I'm trying to think about how hard it would be to try and back up a perfect heat. Yeah, and then Julian as well. I mean, watch this first turn from Julian Wilson. As good as it gets at JBay. Look at that slashing maneuver. Just so much confidence. Fading off the bottom. This is where he kind of wiped off just a little bit too much speed, just waiting for it, waiting for it. You can see him timing it, slowing into it, steps forward, and then drives into it. Maybe should have kept a little bit of momentum, maybe a bit more of a higher line. I don't know, hard to tell from this angle, but once you get in that barrel, there's so much going on. You need to keep that high line. You need to get that down the line speed, and Julian just wiping off too much of it.
Julian Wilson, former Rookie of the Year, came on the tour with Alejo Muniz in that battle. Last couple of years, we have 7 new names joining the top 34, so Wilson's seeing the tour completely change in front of his eyes. Speaking of rookies, the man of the moment, sending John Florence and Mick Fanning into round 5.
Yeah, amazing stuff.
2 9s, of course you won. And he had a 10, it was mental. It's the best heat ever.
Oh, yeah, ever. Oh my God.
I was so sick, man.
Did I win?
I told you.
Federico asking his coach if he won the heat. And he said, of course he did. John had a 10, it was the best heat ever. And then Federico probably was like, right, it felt good.
Yeah.
So he was just in the moment. Back-to-back scores into the 9s, the rookie into the quarterfinals. Medina's already in the quarters. Trying to decide our third quarterfinalist now with this one. Jordy Smith, last score, 4.5. Toledo's last of 5.83. And Julian's a 3.4 the early stages here. But you love seeing that look on an athlete's face like Federico. You go travel around the world constantly, and you're hoping you're going to score every venue. That's the dream. And it's always the Ocean's last say. To get a heat like that with 2 of the biggest names in the sport and to come out on top, that's a special moment for Moraes.
You know what, Joe, I think the fact that he had John and Mick, that he didn't really was expecting anything. You know, I think he just went into it and said, you know what, I'm just going to go out there and have fun. There's no pressure on me. I'm the rookie. No one's expecting me to win this thing. And guess what? I just won it. I just took down the champs, yeah.
Solid 9-point rides. Federico Moraes is now with Rosie Hodge.
Well, Federico Moraes making it into the quarterfinals, having to overcome 4 combined world titles in that round 4. You must be taking confidence out of that one.
Yeah, it was probably the best hit of my life, I would say, against Mick and John. It can't get better. And John with a 10, I had 2 9s. Mick was ripping as well. Really hard to hear the scores out there. Yeah, best one of the best days of my life.
I love the way that you rose to the challenge, though. It just seemed like your surfing wasn't hurried in any way, but all your maneuvers were just placed in the perfect place. Did you feel that? Like your timing was just spot on?
Yeah. The last few hits, I didn't feel like I was surfing at my best. And I knew that on this hit of round 4, it couldn't happen. I had to give my best. Everything would have to be perfect. And, well, that's what I did and paid off. And finally, I felt like I was doing my real surfing.
And you got Richard Dog Marsh with you. Does the strategy change going into the final series when you hit the quarterfinals?
I don't know. I guess we'll see how the conditions gonna be tomorrow and the rest of the few days. But yeah, it's an amazing support dog. Knows a lot about strategies and knows a lot about every athlete, and yeah, that's a really big help.
Well, thank you for your time. We'll look forward to those quarterfinals.
Thank you so much, Rosie. And Frederico Moraes calling today one of the best days of his life. Definitely made a huge statement, getting top honors in that matchup into the quarterfinals. And always quick to thank all of his support crew first. Very humble in his approach. Comes from a solid sporting background. Everyone in his family plays rugby. It could have been an easy path for him to take. But I think sometimes that coaching, sometimes from other sports, still develops athletes in different realms. And he's taken that work regimen, that solid focus to surfing. And his turns make sense at Jeffreys Bay. When he's got a wall, Frederico is a force to be reckoned with.
That is 100% correct, Joe. And have a look at this. More sets coming through out the back.
Wilson now trying to look for a decent score on this one. Already flying down the line. Just set up work to really lay down some tracks here. Draws a huge carve down to the bottom. Fading cut back as he waits for this thing to hollow out. Extended that bottom turn once again. Now packing it. Wilson. He's got plenty of room to come out, and he gets sucked back deep, and he's down.
Again, maybe wiping off too much speed yet again, and Toledo out the back.
Let's see if Toledo's going to set one up for himself. Already see him come flying through, and he's going to hop out of there. Let's see if he had anything major before that.
Yeah, Julian, I think slowing down just a little bit too much, Joe. It's almost better maybe get ahead of it, carve back, and then come back through that section with speed, you know. Gives you a little bit more momentum, able to deal with that foam ball a bit better. You know, I think if you're almost come to a dead stop, to then drive through that foam ball would be a lot more difficult.
Making a move now. We see Jordy Smith with priority. He's got a whitewater section in front of him, so he'll hop on out of there as Julian and Felipe still working on paddling back out. So Smith can kind of roam around, check out a couple of rides. 2 titles here for Jordy in his career. Last few years have been a little bit tougher. There's the years back was hurt. He basically limped out of the lineup when he got knocked out in round 2. CJ got him in round 3 the year before that, but he had a 19.87 combined total that year in the opening round with a 10-point ride, which is still one of my favorites ever ridden at JBay. So now really clicking into the system here and the fans on the beach. Sean Thompson, you know what it's like to represent South Africa around the world. How's Jordy feeling now competing on what really want to call his home court?
Well, I think he has tremendous support from the crowd. But that crowd support in front of your hometown crew is also a two-edged sword, because there is that sort of great weight of great expectations, and in some ways it can be additional pressure. So it's just kind of the mindset. Are you drawing on the support to optimize your performance? Or are you looking at that support like, oh, I don't want to disappoint anyone? So it's just kind of a mindset. I think Jordy's really channeling into the support that he got from the crowd. It really showed in his last heat when he got those 2 10-point rides on. He said Madiba sent him. That's Nelson Mandela. Madiba sent him those 2 10-point rides on Madiba Day. It was a beautiful moment. So it is a two-edged sword, but I think Jordy's using it to his advantage.
Well, Sean, I think it's something that you could really relate with, as you have one of the best streaks in pro surfing, the Gunston 500. It was something that you absolutely dominated consecutively for titles. Was it something that you were able to channel, obviously, to a positive, or was it making you nervous too?
No, I was very much able to channel it to a positive. I managed to win that contest, the Gunston 500, 6 times in a row. Even Kelly hasn't won an event 6 times, so I'm throwing a bit of ego into the mix there. But it was a great experience for me to win my first event there at 17. I was pretty young to win a pro event. A lot of those events are unfortunately not in my pro rankings. I've only won 12 events according to the WSL, when in fact I have won 19. Now I'm getting away from the ego now. But it's amazing to see Geordie out there. You know, his surfing is so strong. The whole country's behind him, and I think he's just channeling that love that everyone has for athletes putting it on the line, and people love him in this country.
Well, Sean, what do you think it meant for the fans up in Bolito seeing Geordie show up and once again take his second win out of that prestigious venue?
It was just fantastic. You know, he's from Durban. Okay, Bolito's a little bit outside of Durban, but it's still a break that he surfed a lot when he was growing up. And there's, you know, there's nothing like a hometown champion winning in front of a hometown crowd. So he has got so much support down here, from kids that are 5 and 6 years old to people like myself who's 62 to, you know, even some of the old grannies, the tunnies down here that are like 80. So it's wonderful to see. It's wonderful to see such a massive crowd down here on a work day, just loving Geordie's performances.
Thank you so much, Sean Thompson, former world champ, watching Geordie Smith lead this round 4 heat, 7.17 and a 4.5. Geordie's first win out here at JBay. He won the event up in Bolito. Then it was called the Mr. Price Pro, and he went on to take out his first CT event. So it's always a nice momentum booster for Geordie to continue in that winning motion. Still plenty of time on the clock for Toledo and Wilson to make a comeback. Will return to pumping JBay right after this. Welcome back to the Corona Open JBay as we think about the best waves we've seen so far in this contest. Julian Wilson getting a perfect 10 today. Geordie Smith 2 10s in the same heat to create history on Mandela Day to grab a perfect scoring heat at Jeffries for the first time ever. Toledo's came in round 2 for a brilliant performance as he took over the highlight reel, joined us on the post show. He looked comfortable and relaxed and ready for this matchup. Also Medina getting close to a perfect 10 on his backhand, which is always a huge statement. And that top 5 score line could even change around a bit. We're going to have to start comparing 10s to see which one you like better. Potts, which 10 is your favorite so far?
I'd have to go back and have a look at them. I think there was some amazing 10s. I think they're all amazing in their own way. You know, I think the combination of ones I like, the maneuvers along with the tube ride. I think Geordie's was pretty amazing with that big floater finish. Was really dynamic, was really an exciting, dramatic finish. Maybe that one.
I'm with you. That was my favorite 10 for sure. Watching this now. Julian Wilson, big windup. Sets that carve, needs a 7.74 for the lead here. Sets that rail, and always looks perfect in transition. No extra steps when he doesn't need it, just rail to rail. Really clean lines out. He's setting up his hollow section. It's going to let him pull in. Now he wants to stall a little bit. He slips off his board. So that barrel section on the inside's been tough for Julian in this heat. He's had a couple of huge sections.
That's the third mishap.
So you think he's getting close to turning that around. But I love his rail work to kick it off. Always looks like his decisions are perfect. I love when he's on a wave where we have a lot of time to really see that bottom turn. Like a wave at Margaret River when he finaled against Seabass. You see his technique is flawless. Let's see how this one started off.
Well, it started off good, Joe, that's for sure. I mean, he was well and truly on his way to a good score here. Beautiful searing maneuver. That nice low bottom turn that just, you can't really teach that stuff, can you? You're either born with it or you're not. Julian, definitely one of the more pleasing styles to the eye, that's for sure. Taking his time. Now he's starting to set that inside section up, which has given him some trouble so far in this heat. Now he starts to drive through, trying to slow himself down and loses the back foot. That's the third time it's taken him down on the inside here. Trying to wipe off too much speed yet again and goes down for the count. So Julian Wilson back to the drawing board, still currently in third place. And a 3.93 and a 4.87. And that's not going to be enough right now. He's going to be needing some bigger scores. 12 minutes remaining. Jordy Smith with a slender lead. Toledo needing a 5.85 and Julian just a 6.81. So this is anyone's heat right now.
Remember, second and third deal with round 5. So we're already seeing those matchups starting to stack up. Owen Wright with a matchup with John Florence. That's the big one on paper for the title race, since Owen, number 3 in the world, John, number 2 in the world, are going to deal with each other and knock each other out of the event. Obviously, John got the 10-point ride in the last heat. Still went down to the back-to-back 9s from Federico. Speaking of 10s, you're going to get to pick your favorite. We had a perfect heat today from Jordy Smith as we check out his first perfect score.
Yeah, Jordy Smith up against Leonardo Fioravanti. I mean, have a look at that, driving through. You see, Jordy wasn't wiping the speed off like Julian did, and I tell you what, coming out of that, there was still plenty of wave left, but Jordy had done enough, said, you know what, I'm out of here. That's enough to be a 10-point ride, and then backed it up with another one.
And happened. What an incredible one. So this one, your favorite. We'll get back to the 10 highlight reel because this is live action. Jordy Smith. Jordy's running through the inside as he's snapping it off the lip. Now running through this inside corner. Jordy's now just coming through the inside. Remember, still the heat leader, 7.17 and a 4.5. And now a big section to pull into. Super deep. Jordy looking to punch free. And that one's going to take him down. So still some time on the clock. Jordy with a 7.17 on the opener, then a 4.5. As now hearing the horn sound, we've got the Felipe Toledo on the back of the ski there.
Yep. Okay, well.
And now at the moment you see him climbing into the boat there. So taking a time to investigate, a little moment in the water here. Jordy Smith took that wave in. Now Felipe waiting with the water patrol. And now standing by for that update here at round 4, heat number 3. Julian Wilson on the back of the ski, and Jordy Smith took that one all the way through the inside corner. So this heat just on a brief hold at the moment. And we'll give you guys all the updates in just a moment. Felipe already waiting out the back. Julian on the ski, and Jordy taking that one through the inside. What an exciting matchup. Jordy now on the beach.
What is that?
Oh, no.
I'm not sure. The boys said there's a shark, but I'm not sure.
Jordy, what happened?
I'm not too sure exactly. Yeah, they said they saw a shark, I guess, or I don't know.
Exit the border. He exited the water pretty quick, though.
Yeah, no, I got one last one in, and then, yeah, I guess the guys came zooming over on the ski, so, yeah, I'm not sure, eh?
Well, it sounds like they have seen something. They're just investigating at the moment. We're on a short hold. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you very much, Rosie. Jordy just got the message to come onto the beach. Felipe in the boat. Julian got picked up as well. So everyone's nice and safe up on the boats as they just want to take all precautions. We've got such a solid team out there. We've got aircraft spotting anything, and they don't take any chances. They'll just go on hold, talk to the competitors, and decide when they get this one back in the lineup pots.
Yeah, well, safety first, guys. And if there's any doubt whatsoever, you know, we go on hold and assess the situation. So the primary thing is the safety of our athletes, and we will not take any kind of chance whatsoever to put their life or their well-being in any kind of danger. So we'll keep you guys updated with the situation as we get more information ourselves.
So Wilson there on the back of the ski there. All the skis have the shark shield on the bottom of it, so everyone's so well prepared, especially when we come to Jeffreys Bay. There's a ski for every single surfer out here. That's the WSL rule, so safety's always first. You can see holds at different venues around the world. Obviously this ocean, a big playground for all animals and surfers alike. And this seat at the moment on standby. As you see them investigating the situation, and Wilson and Toledo now look like they could be coming into beach spots.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll find out exactly what happened. It seems to me maybe Felipe had an encounter. I know exactly how he feels. Part and parcel with being a surfer in South Africa and many places around the world. So as we said before, safety for our surfers is primary. And
you love how that's the responsibility of the Water Patrol. Yep. The Water Patrol is insane. They're always watching everything. Each ski is dedicated to each surfer in the lineup. And in a matter of seconds, they're picked up. And if there's any room for error, they just in case, they'll get them on out of there. Jordy Smith leading with the heat lead. Toledo still second. Julian Wilson was in that third spot when we went on hold.
Yeah, with around about 8.5 minutes or so left on the clock. So we had a very similar situation.
Remember Margaret River?
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, exactly the same kind of situation in Margaret River, where a big bait ball came through the lineup, and there was a few bigger fish chasing that, but they're not really looking to hassle the surfers. They're just on a bit of an inspection, as Giggs would say.
That's right, just passing through. Still standing by for an official update from our commissioner's office on the outcome of this matchup. It was a highly anticipated show because all surfers in the heat had 10s. And Julian obviously has been a part of this in the past in the final with Fanning, showing so much courage and bravery to be my mixed side. Now let's get another update from Rosie Hodge.
Thanks so much, Joe. Yes, I'm just outside the commissioner's office. Richie Porter, head judge, the commissioners, Renato and Kieran, as well as the head of us water safety, Damien, are all in there assessing the situation and just making sure, like we mentioned, the safety of our surfers is our priority. So just going to wait for them to finish having a chat and deciding what the protocol will be from here on out.
Thank you so much, Rosie, on the scene. She was down on the beach talking to Jordy. He didn't have any news for us. So now running back upstairs to the commissioner's office, and we'll find the word. Felipe now taking a break on the inside, and we'll get that final outcome.
Yeah, well, Felipe was the furthest one out, right? Julian had a wave. He was on his way back out. Jordy was on a wave. So I think maybe Felipe would probably have the best idea of what has occurred. But
Julian's already into the beach.
Yep.
Yeah, we can't talk enough about his bravery back in 2015.
Yeah.
To hustle up to mixed side. Split the points after that one. WSL is ready for big moments to take care of the surfers, always first and foremost. And so we'll wait for that word from the commissioner's office, still evaluating the situation. For the 10 club, Jordy Smith, 2 10s earlier today. Felipe had 10 yesterday. Wilson got absolutely barreled. Remember, one more heat to go in round 4 as well. So Wilco, number 1 in the world, still waiting on deck with Michelle Perez and Connor Coffin. Julian, one of those standout performers at JBay, a crucial stop on the tour.
You want to come up there? Yeah, there's a rule. There's a rule? Yeah. If we can, we're going to assess tomorrow. If we can define conditions are similar, we'll pick her up or left off. Conditions are different, restart. But there is a chance it's going to be pretty similar. Yeah. Right. That's why we want to decide tomorrow. We don't want to bang the hammer now.
Lower tide in the morning.
Yeah. Well, the other guys already came up.
They were on the boat. I'm not sure. They're probably coming in now.
Well, what's the situation? I mean, only like 6 minutes or so.
Renato Hickel just talking it over with Jordy's coach, Chris Gallagher, a former surfer on the tour that's won major events around the world. Just talking about the rule book with restarts if it's on another day, or starting with the time allotted. We'll get that official word in a moment.
Yeah, I think with the situation, if the conditions are very similar tomorrow, they'll pick up where they left off. Obviously, if it's conditions are vastly different, they'll probably have a restart. I'm not sure.
All those official updates are important from the Commissioner's Office. That Commissioner's Office introduced in pro surfing in 2014, and for good reason. For moments like this. Now let's hear from Kieran Perot with Rosie Hodge.
Thanks so much. Well, Kieran, we've gone on hold. What's the situation?
So yeah, a couple of judges and some ski drivers saw a shark breach about 100 yards out the back of the lineup. They saw it twice actually. The boat went over immediately. A couple of skis went over and confirmed that it was a shark in the water. Heat was put on hold. And we've made a decision that we're not going to restart again today. 4 o'clock already, only an hour left of light, so we'll come back tomorrow. We've still got great waves on tap, and we'll, reassess in the morning. But there's no need to get that heat back in the water again today.
And will you chat with the surfers that were in the water, see if they saw it, and maybe find out how they're feeling about re-entering at the lineup?
Sure, yeah, we'll have a conversation with them now. They've just come back to the beach. We've just managed to tell them we're not going to restart that heat today. I think they all looked quite happy about that, so we'll have a chat with them now, and another discussion in the morning when we look at the conditions tomorrow.
Well, Kieran, thank you so much for the update. Keeping the surfers safe is our priority. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you very much, Rosie, and a great call from Kieran Perot, our commissioner, to decide to call it a day. Always making safety a reflex here on the championship tour. And Julian Wilson coming in with a big smile on his face. Happy to come on in and think about another day. Getting a little high five from Bart and a big hug from his mom, Nola. And she's so proud of his effort and what he's done here at JBay the last few years. An absolute hero in and out of the jersey. Coming off a semi-final last year, returning to JBay after the final before that. And what an epic heat we were looking forward to. And Potts, if we get a restart, what a gift we get to see from the 10 club. Jordy, Felipe, and Julian, I'd love for them to get a fresh club.
Yeah, that would be great. But obviously it comes down to the Commissioner's Office. Obviously there's rules in place for situations just like this. And we'll have to wait and find out, really. But, there's no point throwing the surfers back out there. But, it is part and parcel with this part of the world.
That's right. Mick Fanning in that heat with Julian. He was quick to thank Julian for the courage. As you look way out the back, you can see on the right side of your screen.
Yep, it's a Mako right there. See it jumping in the right-hand corner of the screen. So he was just having a bit of fun, doing a bit of an air. You heard Toledo was in the water, and he figured, I'll show Toledo some air game.
Exactly, Potts. And they actually saw that a couple of times.
Yeah.
So always going, okay, we confirm there is a shark in the lineup. You can see it breach on the outside of your screen. And with all the rules in place and precautions, safety first, let's get him out of there and plan on another day.
Yeah, exactly right. Safety first. We don't want our athletes put in harm's way in any way, shape or form.
We just want to share what we're going to do.
It's been a big day, Joe.
It's been a massive day of competition. Lots of 10s. We had a lot of highlights. One of our favorite days at JBay that we've had in a long time. Also creating history with the perfect heat. And now coming through the inside. This is a venue where we have so many great water patrol on hand for good reason. And if you're just joining us, we have the Water Patrol just wisely get the surfers out of the lineup.
Yeah, well, the Water Patrol saw it. The boat that sits out the back, it's there for a reason. They saw exactly what happened. The response was swift. The surfers were out the water. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, right-hand corner of your screen there, you can see I don't know, around about a 6 or 7 foot shark breaching. Looks like a mako shark. It's a deep water fish. They're not known really to bother humans too much.
And a smart move just to get the Water Patrol in action. Damon Pneumaticos, head of the Water Patrol teams from up in Bolito, works that event. He's got walkie-talkies on all of his team, and they made the quick call to pick up the surfers. Toledo out of the lineup, and will plan on surfing another day. So leaving with round 4, heat 3. Still left to sort out as Felipe's with Rosie Hodge.
Well, one of the surfers that was actually in the water while it was happening, Felipe, do you want to just give an account of the scenario from your side?
Yeah. Second time this year. But no, glad we're here. Glad the team worked pretty good. You know, they saw it, a big fish or shark, I don't know yet, but it was like spinning and it was a crazy, you know, situation. But they thought the skis came like really fast to us and we jumped on the skis, so all good. I think we're off for today and hope to come back tomorrow and finally surf some good waves with, you know, no risk.
And like you said, this is the second time for you, but how important is it to have those safety measures, and how thankful are you that, you know, we have such good water safety in attendance at the moment?
Yes, you know, speechless for the safety water now. You know, they did a really good job, and they always doing a really good job, you know. Thank you guys, and just keeping us, you know, alive. And yeah, it's always good to have them, you know, looking after us in the water, but it happens. It's the ocean, you know, we can control it, but glad we're here.
Felipe, thanks for your time. We'll see you hopefully competing again tomorrow or the next day, boys.
That's right, Rosie. Felipe Toledo is talking about the second time that's happened to him this year. Back at Margaret River, he had the heat with Kolohe and Dino where the big bait ball came through.
Yep.
And so there's that little bit of energy that you feel when you're getting surprised by the Water Patrol, but they're the best in the business. They're hand-selected for moments like this, and like Felipe said, they swooped him up and then got him caught up with the scenario. Jeffreys Bay still lighting up with an uncrowded lineup, as we'll be returning for another call in the morning to see if we'll get back underway. Some big heats, including the one with Jordy, Julian, Felipe, also Connor, Michelle, and Wilco yet to surf the round 4 heats today.
Yeah, you know, and you heard Kemp Rhodes around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There's no sense in pushing forward with that. Safety first, guys.
And also goes for Seabass, who's going for a free surf, and he's like, well, maybe I'll check in with these guys first, just to make sure, with all the resources we have on hand, even going for a free surf, they want to make sure the lineup's nice and clear. And that was what was really special about the lay days, Potts. We had the Water Patrol working through the lay days and keeping everyone posted on anything happening in the water.
Fine-tuning their skills, absolutely.
It's going to be the same.
Can't be with
other
end of the day.
Unless we went straight back out.
Yeah. It's not like it was a super high scoring heat anyway, so I don't think there's any loss in restarting it, to be honest. But we'll decide in the morning. I reckon that'll be more likely. Yeah. So we'll do that then.
So would that be made kind of like game time?
Yeah, what time's that?
No, it'll be like as soon as we know what the call is, I guess. We've said 7:30 for a call, but we're not going to start like 5 minutes after.
So is that going to...
at least 20 minutes before we, and maybe even longer. There's also supposed to be maybe a bit of devil in the morning, but we might have to wait for that.
How come, are you just thinking that the conditions might be exactly the same in the morning, or do you want to just...
It could be. The swell's still showing exactly the same size tomorrow morning as it was an hour ago. So
same tide and stuff?
Same tide. It'll just be the wind and stuff that might make it different. Yeah.
Size.
Yeah. I mean, given it's a different day, I think it would probably be more likely that.